As much as we all like to rip on men, this is time to take some accountability.
Should women in the WNBA be paid the same as men in the NBA?
Yeah.
You serious?
No, they shouldn't, because the viewership
Let's get everybody's
is different.
answer really quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
No, because it loses money, right?
No one
It's
watches the
subsidized.
WNBA. No.
Yeah.
No one.
No.
If they have the same viewership, yes,
Yeah.
but they don't. They don't, and that's why it's lower.
No, they shouldn't.
Okay. So you think they should be paid the same?
Yeah.
Why?
It's the same sport.
But the way they get paid is on popularity and viewership, or
Sponsorship.
Different teams
Yeah.
get paid different amounts.
Lose
Yeah.
money for
Different players.
because
The NBA helps
is
support the
existent.
WNBA, don't they?
It's- yeah, it's
Yeah, they
subsidized.
take the money
What's the
from
least
NBA.
paid team
On which, on
on
what?
the in the NBA? Like,
What's your point? I don't know.
what's the least paid team?
It just
I
depends
don't
on how
know.
much
The
the
Golden
owners have
State
to pay.
Warriors. There it is. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
No,
If
I'm
they're
just-
the least viewed, then
I'm
they
just
should be
throwing a random
getting
one.
paid.
Well,
the least,
I mean,
right?
I think they all get paid based on their viewership in general, with any sort of
It depends on, it depends on the
sport.
budget of the
I mean,
team.
the Lakers, or actually, we'll go to baseball. The Chicago White Sox are not going to be paid the same way as like the Dodgers, unless, there's.
Unless the White Sox win.
Right, exactly.
What is the base pay of a WNBA player versus the base pay of an NBA player? I know it's substantial.
I think NBA is double or no, triple
NBA's
digits.
gotta be way more than-
WNBA is double digit.
I think some of them get paid like, I don't know, 70, 80,000 in the WNBA. Yeah, but so, okay, you were asking though about what's the least paid team in the NBA? What does that have to do with?
Well, if they have the least amount of viewers, then do you think every team deserves to be paid differently in the NBA?
Well,
They are.
different
on their sports,
different teams and different players are compensated differently. Like LeBron James gets paid way more than like some rookie.
Do you think that's fair?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
He's a better player. He's bringing eyeballs. He has.
It's like the same thing in
Yes.
any career. You're going to have, work your way up.
Question for you: should an extra on the set of a Quentin Tarantino movie be paid the same as Brad Pitt?
Well, no.
Why not?
They're doing less work.
But you're a dancer, so when you go to work at night, do you think everyone should pool tips, or do you think that you should keep what you earned based on your performance?
Everyone should pull tips for sure.
Oh, hell no.
Do they?
Like, what do you mean pull tips? Like, get my tips?
No,
Or
that
like-
means everyone puts their money
Oh,
together.
no, hell no, yeah.
Okay,
no,
that's the same thing.
But they're doing the same job.
Yeah.
They're also taking their clothes off and showing
that's
their
the same
butthole.
concept.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's
But, like-
performance-based.
yeah, I guess you're right.
Like, what if you're just the best stripper at the strip club and you got some rookie girl in there that doesn't know how to finesse these dudes into getting the private dances? She doesn't have that. She doesn't have the aura. You have the aura. All the men, when they come to the step club, you get the dances. She's a rookie. She's like, you know what, though? I want to be paid the same as you.
But we get paid hourly in California.
Yeah, but you also get tips.
but you get
your tips. So
Yeah.
I worked at a nightclub in Miami. It's called Live, and we used to make a ton of money. And each section depended on. I mean, you could make 30 grand in one night.
Were you a bottle girl?
Yeah, I opened the nightclub. I went there and I ran the bottle service program. I
Okay.
trained all the girls myself. So it was great. I made 30 grand in one night. It was
Damn.
fantastic. And the other girls in other sections started to get a little pissed off. And they ran to the owner and said, Gretman, I want to make more money. So then they changed the rules after the Super Bowl. And they're like, you know what? No matter what section you're in, no matter how much service you're doing, everyone's going to put their tips all together and everyone's going to go home with the equal amount.
That's annoying.
No one wanted to work hard anymore. No one wanted to work their clients anymore because what's the point?
Right.
Literally.
That's the same thing with like the sports aspect. But granted, maybe you didn't realize that because
I kind of think it's like a little different.
I don't think
Well, okay.
it's a job. It's a career.
What about, you said you do OF kind of?
early, yeah.
Well, okay. Sophie Rain, that girl who's allegedly made like tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah. Kind of briefly.
There's this girl, OF, she's made millions of dollars, right? can I start an OnlyFans and go to Sophie Rain and say, you know what, I want to be paid as much as you?
She'd probably be like, if you work for it, then you know.
No, but I want equal pay from OF.
Well,
Is it because I don't have as many followers as Sophie Rain? Is it because she's offering a different product? Maybe she's a better
Works her way
strumpet?
in.
men
Because you're a man,
probably
though.
do. And some men
Men
probably
make
do.
far less money in work than women do.
true.
100%.
Well, yeah, like men probably should
So
get paid half
sexist.
of like.
So sexist.
And the women should subsidize
Yeah.
the male workers.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just.
Okay,
Wait,
well-
what's subsidy? Sorry.
She's consistent.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
guess.
sorry. I'm just saying that
The women should.
men should be like paid half of like if you make a with a woman, she should give you half of what she makes off of that.
Why? I mean, like, why though?
What do you mean by your body's in it? Like you're.
Yeah, but if like that's what the market, if it costs more to.
But
to
she's
get
getting
women-
you the exposure, if that Sophie, what was her name? Sophie Rains. So if let's say you're doing like a little thing with her and she's got a bunch of viewers that she built up over time,
But
you
it's
don't
still half
get,
yours. Like it's
No.
still half the guy.
No, it's not.
How do you get this old in life not understanding basic economics? Supply, demand, costs, benefits, free markets. If it were up to her, we'd be living under communism.
Be wrong, but I think that
from the government of Canada.
Oh, here we go.
Pasty George donated
I need to fix that delay.
$200.04.
Thank you, man.
Bettina Arndt, once a prominent feminist but now an advocate for men's rights, states that feminism is no longer about equality but about advantaging women at the expense of men and demonizing men.
That's misandry.
Well, can I ask you a question? Let's dive into this a little bit here. Off
I think
of the
we can
like
fix
the wage
her,
gap
by the
stuff.
way.
Fix her?
Yeah, we can.
Maybe.
I know. I want to give you props because I see you actually like diving deeper beyond what you feel in a conversation when you first initiate it.
Yeah.
We're talking to it, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're being reasonable.
She's not going to be a stripper
appreciate
after
that.
this. Mark my words.
Yeah, in your notes you say you'd love to talk about how Brian gets feminism confused with misandry.
Yeah.
Feminism is equality of the sexes and the advocacy of women's rights, and misandry is hatred of men. And ultimately, you can't be a feminist if you don't advocate for equality and put one below or above each other. Well, this is kind of like communism. So, like in a perfect world, I guess. With perfect actors, communism, I guess, could work, but humans are imperfect, right? So this utopian society or whatever, like, how do you factor for greed? How do you factor for crime? How do you factor for people who are corrupt? How do you factor for people who are going to abuse this system that, requires everybody to be acting like in a really perfect or close to perfect manner? So it's kind of like, feminists really aren't that way. I do disagree with your definition. I gave you my first definition. My second definition is feminism is women's advocacy, and then bundled in with that is misandry. And the two are basically inextricably linked. They're intertwined. You ever had like Chinese finger trap? You can't pull your fingers out. They're connected. And you can't remove it. You can't remove it. You can't remove the anti-male component of feminism. Oh, yes, you agree?
No, I was just like,
You're listening.
actively
Okay,
listening.
sure.
Sorry.
So practically speaking, even if feminism isn't inherently male, which I would argue it is, I said that the fruits of feminism are totally contrary to this. Why is it the case that so many women who are exposed to feminism end up having sexist views towards men, who hold anti-male positions, who espouse anti-male rhetoric? Ultimately, we can talk about definitions all day. If in practice, what we see the fruits of feminism are, the product, the end result of feminism is, hey, this is a really good method to basically make women hate men. That's what we see.
Well, I can see how, I've been hearing you speak and I can hear why you feel that way. because you haven't witnessed it any other way.
I've had a lot of self-proclaimed feminists on. I mean, look, we can just test it out, though. Let's test it out. Do you believe in the patriarchy?
Like, do I believe it exists?
Yes.
Yes.
Is patriarchy and the patriarchy theory a core tenet of the feminism?
Yeah.
Like if you take a Feminism 101 class in college, you get an introductory feminism textbook, it's going to talk about patriarchy.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. Okay. So that's the patriarchy is the overarching framework that the feminist lens views everything through, right? What is patriarchy?
It's the hierarchy of men, right?
That's, yeah, what about the hierarchy?
Like, I'd say we live in a very male-ran society.
Male-ran society. Okay.
Yeah.
Under this patriarchy, under this male-ran society, are women as a group oppressed?
I'd say yes.
Okay.
Like in history, yes.
Historically,
right? Yeah. Historically, yeah.
Right, and even if it might not be the case now, although many feminists still claim that women are oppressed, even in the United States.
I do think in some countries, very much, yeah, for sure.
What about the USA, though? Are women oppressed in the US?
I think it depends on, like, the context, I think, like...
In some way, are women oppressed?
I'd say yeah.
If you think women are still oppressed by men, why do you find it so hard to believe that feminism is linked to misandry? Usually the oppressed holds a resentment towards their oppressors. For example, look at the way that the Black community views white people. Even though slavery is over, the tension still remains.
And then historically and then current day, even though you seem to acknowledge that in the past women were more oppressed.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. And now they're still oppressed, but not as much. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Who's the oppressor?
I'd say it's society as a whole.
But it's a patriarchy, so men?
Not necessarily. I think it comes from men and women.
Well, but okay, sure.
If I'm just going to be honest.
But you said it's male-run society.
Yeah.
If the men run the patriarchy, if women as a group are the oppressor class, men as a group are what? Are they the oppressor class?
Yeah.
Or sorry, did I say women are the oppressor? Women are the oppressed class. I might have misspoken there.
That's okay.
Are men the oppressor class?
I'd say yes, but also women oppress each other.
You sure about that?
I see. Okay. What are you supposed to do and think about your oppressor group?
What do you, I think...
Are you supposed to treat them well?
Why not?
Your oppressor?
Why not educate them? Or like try and change their views. Maybe that's your perspective,
but do you think if you tell somebody, hey, by the way, you are being oppressed by this group. They want you to be slaves. They want you to have less rights. They want you to be subservient, and they want to hold you down while elevating themselves. Maybe you're like this, hippie, peace, love, blah blah blah. But do you think if you tell some people that, they're gonna be like, maybe have bad feelings towards that group?
Oh yeah, I definitely think that's a thing for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you wholesale tell women, and this isn't like some fringe thing, like women who go to college learn this. It's all over social media. Feminism is the mainstream narrative. If you tell women that, by the way, men throughout all of human history have been abusive, they've been predators, they've mistreated you, they've taken away your rights, and even still today, they still think XYZ bad thing about you. You're oppressed, men are oppressors. As a group, you must strive to overcome, you must strive to overthrow. You don't think that, maybe the women are gonna not have a really positive attitude towards men?
Yeah, but I also think there's a different approach to it.
Like if I was genuinely oppressed, genuinely oppressed, not through the framework of like feminism, oh my God, oppression, blah, blah, blah. I would be like, yo, we're slaves. We're going to overthrow these people by any means necessary, even if it means violence.
Well, I'm a hippie, but like, I don't think violence is ever okay, you know, like I think.
But I'm talking genuine oppression here, not like, not like these sort of vague, like, I really want to be a victim. Like, oh no, a man wants to take care of me and I don't have to work. Oh.
What?
That's a big story. That's a big component of feminism. Freeing you've basically fought against this traditional dynamic that men and women used to have. Women were central to the household, taking care of the children. Men went out into the world and worked. Hey, look, I'm fine with women working, but I don't consider like men. I don't consider it necessarily oppression that women didn't have to work and men had to work. Like, in fact, I think that's actually perhaps even more oppressive.
But we didn't get the choice.
Okay, men didn't have the choice either. Like, you think men back in the day when it was deemed oppressive could be like, you know what? I don't want to work. I just want to rely on a woman. I'll raise the children. Men didn't have a choice either. And women, like if back in the day, they wouldn't entertain that sort of gender dynamic. So women upheld their own, I guess from your purview, their own oppression by refusing to date men that didn't want to work.
We weren't allowed to work.
Here we go again.
We weren't even allowed to work, though.
Well, that's not actually.
Wait, what do you say?
Stop. That's actually not true. Women were never legally barred from working. Women could work at any point in human history.
We weren't even allowed to get an education.
That's not true.
That is true.
Not true. Women could go to college. There was no legal prevention from women going to college. There are some institutions that I guess didn't allow women in, but also if you look at how many people actually went to college, college was reserved for the mostly pretty elite people. Depends how far back in history we're going. Depends how far back. But think about it this way. If back in the day there was a gender expectation for women to get pregnant, and hundreds of years, 100 years ago or whatever, if we look at the mortality rate of women who give birth, just practically speaking, let's say you have one daughter, one son. Mm-hmm. And back then the expectation for both your children is they're going to get married and have children in their early to mid 20s, maybe even younger. If knowing back historically that women did run a risk of death when giving birth to children, should we then invest that money? If you could only send one of your kids to college, mm-hmm. but we know for certain both of them are going to have children, does it make sense to send the person who's more likely to just die while giving childbirth? Does that make sense?
That is so morbid. I don't even know how to answer that if I'm going to be real.
But hold on. Historically, these are just realistic considerations that people took in terms of how should we invest our money into our children? How should somebody invest their money? And then just beyond that, if the expectation was societally back then, you might say you disagree, but if the expectation was, well, hold on, this woman's going to have 4, 5, 6, 7 children. Let me, as the man who doesn't have to carry the burden of carrying a pregnancy for months, recovering from childbirth, wouldn't it make sense to be you know what, let's send the men to do work and let's set the men up so that they can do that? Wouldn't that make sense societally?
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
I kind of don't think so because I think, I don't know, just women deserve to be as educated as men, especially back in the day, because we're very important to society.
So me personally, I'm fine with women having the choice.
Yeah.
But I don't categorize women, like I almost view it as a bit of a privilege that women didn't have to work. Now you've basically found yourselves in situations, and also I don't really understand this.
Would you trust relying on a woman for your living?
What do you mean? Like today, modern society?
Modern day, say you were jobless and you had no one to go to but your hypothetical girlfriend.
Yeah, but this is interesting because I would argue that your husband is, I mean, look, there's a lot of issues currently with dynamics between men and women, with marriage, but
what if
I
you
think
lost
your
your
husband,
job though? And
what if you lost your, what if you lost your job? You can lose.
And the girlfriend had a job and you'd both have to rely on her. Do you think that's right? And would you trust that? Like, would you trust financially relying on a woman entirely?
Wait, are you trying to be like, well, this is what women go through?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, I guess. Like roles reversed, do you think anyone should have to financially and entirely rely on someone? Because what if they're like a person, you don't love them, they're abusive, like there's so many scenarios you should not entirely like financially rely on someone. They can hold it over your head. Financial abuse is real, you know what I mean? Like,
of course it is.
There's so many things that could like go wrong.
But I don't understand this argument because all sorts of bad things can happen in corporations. You can be sexually harassed in a corporation. You can be, I suppose there's ways in which like, you know, your corporation goes bankrupt and they can't pay you your wages. Like bad things can also happen when you're working. Ultimately, though, you guys have traded being submissive to your husband to being submissive to an employer, to being submissive to a cold, heartless corporation that will absolutely fire you. Like corporations will never show you, like, look, I know there's bad men out there, but there's also wonderful good men out there, and a corporation will never ever, if you have a good man, will never approach the kind of goodness, I guess you could say, that you might receive from a man.
Let me tell you something. Feminism was the biggest scam thrust upon women. Instead of building a family and legacy, you've made trillions for companies and stockholders alike. This turned you against your own nature and country. When it's all said and done, you will reflect and look back upon your life and ask yourself, what have I created? Just pray you have an answer.
That's what I call a chain reaction.
Manifest my own destiny. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the perfect recipe. May they remember me, my words will live on. I'm guided by an energy, a flame, hold it close to you. Check out my melodies in the media that's been leading you. I'll show you a thing. Misdirection, what's the message? They don't want you to win.
As much as we all like to rip on men, this is time to take some accountability.